Hello. Thank you for joining me yet again. Lauren Heistad here. It's good to meet you. Author of the book SOULworks Trilogy, Homecoming. All right, we are on chapter 44. It's called The Gathering. As everything in my life started coming further into alignment, I came up with a few new roadblocks. Roadblocks inevitably also meant the resurfacing of my old fears as to why this is happening or what it all meant. With all my biblical accounts, what would always transpire My phone just popped up my own recording of Godspeed. That's crazy, isn't it? Okay, focus. Okay, with all my biblical accounts, what would always transpire was first the experience, and then the frantic online and biblical searches to validate what had just transpired, while sympathetically picturing our ancestors working through events without the gift of technology to confirm their intuitive experiences. With the arrival of the 1260 date, a new hurdle was on the horizon. It was the reference to the 1335 day mentioned in the book of Daniel that I had become acutely aware of after the 1260th day had lined up and moved into my awareness. Adding 75 days to the original day of May 3rd, 2016, when I officially took my chair and soul energy back, it provided me with a future date. Yeah. A little alarming, but it did. July 16th, 2016. Never before this point in time had I known in advance when another biblical experience would surface. And strangely enough, knowing in advance that something was about to happen was by no means easier. Not at all. Not knowing exactly what would shake down only added more stress to my ever-growing mountain of fears and perceived responsibilities. However, according to the biblical accounts in the book of Daniel 12:12, blessed is he or she who waits and arrives at the 1335th day. 1,335 days. So in theory it sounded pretty good, I reasoned with myself. Thinking about this impending date just around the corner, I found myself wanting to flee up north to be in solitude and looking for suggestions on where I should go or what to expect. I also stumbled upon a biblical reference where my sanctuary was burned to the ground. That was startling, to say the least. But I knew in my heart that if that was intended to happen, then I would have no more control over that outcome than I experienced with any of my other accounts. While expressing my fears to the heavens and to my support group, they suggested we go away together on a pilgrimage to celebrate that I'd officially made it to the 1335th day. I felt uneasy with the suggestion, but I knew they were right and that I would appreciate having them by my side. So as I drifted off to sleep that night, I was told to look up the 1335th day, again to bring more clarity I found that on the 13th, 35th day, it was considered special because I would be clearly waiting and knew of the specific date and yet had no clarity on what would happen. It was referenced as a day I would gather my chosen people in a place that had been prepared for us. At this point, I had no idea where that was, but after having just agreed to assemble my group, I knew something was definitely in the works. Another roadblock that occurred while beginning to write about my experiences, right? I'm starting to write my second book, Evolving Your SOULworks, and I was starting to write about my experiences in the valley, that valley of vision, and my accounts of living out parts of Isaiah from the year prior. I realized I couldn't bring myself to write about an event that transpired without first talking to some of the participants to discuss my claims. Not that I needed anyone to tell me what I had experienced. Nope. It was that I could not imagine publicly publishing what I had experienced without being open and honest with those who were there. Now, not wanting to commit too much to this line of thinking, I simply put it out to my angelic as an angelic request to my guides. If I'm to talk about my experiences with this group that originally gathered, then please assemble a team. I had also decided around this time that I needed 3 days, during which I planned to revisit the ceremony and battle site, make peace with the past, and officially decide how to proceed with my future endeavors. With this in mind, I officially contacted the lady whose land I had visited almost a year earlier and made arrangements to go. I later found out this specific act alone was also in scriptures. I seriously began to wonder if I had any original thoughts of my own anymore. Even on the days I thought I am changing things up or trying a new approach, right? I still found I was acting straight by the book. In fact, my guides pointed out a rather clear biblical reference indicating I would go spend 3 days of decision at that battlegrounds of Armageddon to figure out how to proceed. Yes, indeed. At least I was predictably on track. No surprise to me, really. A few days later, I also received an email from a few of the ladies who had attended the first ceremony. They were reassembling some of the original team. Of course they were. Of course they were. And of course, once again, I packed my bags and headed out on the road trip. Gotta love road trips. As I prepared to go, I reminisced on the year prior. A year ago, I had been so scared of the impending battle ahead of me. I had even written a letter to my family, remember? In case I didn't return. Those are some major fears, man. This time was much different. Although I had many fears about speaking my truth and the life-changing events that were sure to unfold, I no longer questioned what role I played or my worthiness to do so. I had continued to live out biblical accounts, and I had successfully taken my chair and power back. I had told my loved ones about the truth of what was currently unfolding in my life. I had collected an amazing group of friends who supported me 110% and were helping to build my inner strength and confidence, of which I'm very thankful for, by the way. I had proven to myself over and over again that I continually came from a place of love and compassion, whenever possible, regardless of who had reflected opposition or competition toward me. I would not say I was completely through the self-doubt and fear. No, not even close. But I knew I was getting stronger in standing in my truth. All in all, I was pretty excited to go. Perhaps I would finally find some closure. Now, on this occasion, before packing my bags for yet another unknown adventure, I wrote a letter to my extended family. To the Lightworkers of SOULworks. Some of you have been on this journey with me for a while now, and some more recently. And yet each and every one of you has jumped right in and provided a wonderful support system to myself, my family, and each other. I appreciate each and every one of you for the role you play and the light you provide. Perhaps I am crazy to believe I am living a prophesied role. That these profound inner and outer experiences of mine are affecting the greater good. Or that there can even be a state of being that echoes heaven on earth. However, in my heart, I know it to be true. I do. In my soul, I am pulled to experience this truth. And in my mind, I strive to achieve this reality, or at the very least, speak my truth. Regardless of what this gathering represents or how it unfolds, I extend my sincere thank you. To this day, I extend my sincere thank you to all the amazing light workers in this group and around the world. I value your strength, support, faith, trust, light, knowledge, connection, and more importantly, your friendship. Love conquers all. Namaste. Okay. Evolving your soul works. I have always been acutely aware that by making my words public, and now even more so, I could be either criticized or respected, feared or loved, judged or accepted for who I am and the experiences I have been blessed to partake in. Blessed. I have thought this over and over in my mind until I could think no longer. I have cried until my inner wells dried up and then have sobbed again, more times than I care to admit. And I admit crying a lot, don't I? I have asked for evidence to confirm my reality and have received more than I know what to do with, and have also been blessed with witnesses to even prove it. However, regardless of my ties to this scripture, I do not claim to represent the Christ or the Antichrist. I am, however, claiming to stand in a role of a Christ energy that has most certainly lived out prophecies, denoting the era we currently live in, and solemnly admit that sometimes my ego brings me into the Antichrist role. Of course it does. I do not wish to put myself above any one person in this world, nor do I wish for anyone to do the same to me. What I want is harmony. What I want is for people to respect the teachings without emphasis on whom it is coming from. There are many amazing avatars experiencing this same level of insight and awareness gathered on this earth today with a clear understanding of these realities. Amen. This is a truth that needs to be spoken so that full clarity and enlightenment can be achieved. Like many in the spiritual movement, I've done my research, and I understand that the biblical accounts have been edited and re-edited over time. That's a fact. I know the scriptures symbolically represent the process of enlightenment and apply to the masses more than any one individual soul. Information has been suppressed, both externally and internally throughout the world, and the divine feminine has unfortunately been completely written out for ages. Complete bullshit. However, I also know that the original teachings, prior to being edited, plus many more historical documents that have been discovered more recently, and still more to come, bear merit and truth. I also know we all have the capacity to experience this level of growth and reach our own inner peace and new world from within. So call it a new kingdom, the new earth, the new world, the age of Aquarius, the fifth dimension, or a higher consciousness of existence. We're definitely in those times of change. We're in them, not through them. The entire universe is shifting upward in vibration, and with that, the old structures, beliefs, experiences, and wrongs need to be righted. Yes, I do. This is the second coming. As I am writing these accounts, we are currently experiencing the great times of tribulation. Did you hear me? We are standing today within the long-awaited prophesied times. This is a fact. I believe this is my message to convey to the masses. That, and we must all take responsibility for our own energetic footprint and achieve this sacred union within ourselves. Get it right the second time, hey? I'm not asking you to believe me or in me. I'm only asking you to believe in yourself and the power you hold within you to create change in the world. To be the full embodiment of the Christ conscious energy, and to let the dualistic nature of our past subside. I'm only pointing out the obvious. We can no longer ignore the existence of dark, nor can we be so naive as to overlook the reasons behind it. The dark energy does exist, of course, and we are all contributing factors. Historically, the Bible has focused on fear-based teachings. Today, we have gone to the other extreme a little bit and are teaching concepts like there being no right or wrong actions, as well as dark and harsh thoughts or emotions are nothing to be feared, but to be embraced. Both concepts are far too extreme from my perspective. I know there's evil in this world. I've seen it. I've experienced it. I've been it. As well as the potential for light. I know that it is our own individual conscious choices and decisions we make every single day that dictate how much light and dark energy there is in this world. I also know there's currently a little bit more dark than light. I I also know it's time for change. Your move. Gather your tribe. More often than not, people transitioning into spiritual growth feel scared and alone. Yeah, of course we do. Please realize there are many people going through the exact fears, insecurities, experiences, and interchanges that you are. You're not alone. Ask your guides to put you in touch with like-minded people. Ask for a friend to arrive so that you may be a support system to each other during these times of change. Put yourself out there to attend functions or events linked to spiritual expansion. You're not alone. You're not. Okay, remove your roadblocks. Everyone has roadblocks. These are the elements and hurdles in our lives we must first overcome to move forward. Face them head on and do not look back. It's time to confidently walk down the path of your own soul works. Many times, fears get in our way, and our overactive imaginations or past life rememberings create worst-case scenarios in our mind, regardless of the current situation and regarding overcoming a roadblock or standing in your truth. Every time I have moved through a hurdle, perceived or otherwise, I have been humbled beyond belief by how many people in the universe responded. Our raw emotions and realities are real. When given the chance, others can feel them and provide the support needed to overcome our hurdles. Honor your role. I've always believed Yeshua was a regular person who experienced enlightenment and strove to pass on those teachings to others. It is a process we can all go through and achieve. In fact, it is our God-given right to experience this state of being. Regardless of my specific experiences with these biblical accounts and connections to his life, my views are still the same. I'm just a regular person. I ask you to review your belief systems on this much documented and anticipated time. Consider just for one moment that you are just as capable and able to achieve Christ consciousness, bear witness to the greatness that is our world, as well as play your individual and unique role within it. Next, do your research. It's no longer the time to take outdated doctrines, influences, or ideas without questioning the validity of them. It's time to remember the divine feminine that is within you, the divine light that was within you, the divine masculine that is within you, and the divine soul that is within you, all of which are ready and fully poised for an adventure. History shows this is one piece of the puzzle that tends to fall through the cracks. It does, and become miscommunicated, misunderstood, and misplaced over time, or altogether. Do not stay within this limited perceptions of the past. Do not stay within the limited perceptions of the past. It is time to wake up and move forward. And finally, save yourself. Understand that you and you alone can fully shift your vibration and awareness. Knowledge and understanding can be hand-delivered to you. But individually, you must still be the one to apply the teachings. Thank you for joining me again. I see your bright and shiny soul out there. Thank you for all that you do.